everyone. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite front-end web development tools called CodePen. It's available at the URL codepen.io, and it is a free front-end web development tool. So the first thing you need to do after going to codepen.io is click the sign up for free button. And the free account will give you a lot of space to create your own pens, and a pen is kind of just like a little web page that you're going to be testing out. You can use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, so all your front end needs. But what's cool about it is this is all online, so it's saved online, so you can work on it at any computer. So if you're at work or school or something like that, you can always just log in and work. In addition to that, it's a really great community with some amazing ideas to kind of work on improving your front-end development skills. So go ahead and sign up, and I will show you around once you get logged in. Okay, once you get logged in, you'll see you're taken to this place called Picked Pens. So there's a lot of they highlight a lot of different pens that are available. The cool thing is there's a search option. So if you wanted to look for a specific example of something, like let's say you wanted to see CSS navigation menu, you could click on that, you could search for that, and there will be tons of examples of different CSS navigation menus that you might want to experiment with. So here's an example. Here is clearly a class. So a lot of classes are using this. We use this in my class. But here's an example page that someone has created, and you can kind of see how this navigation menu works. The way the CodePen works is you have three windows: your HTML window, your CSS window, and your JavaScript window. So in many examples you might not have any JavaScript, so you can just come up to the little window here and the arrow button and click minimize JS editor, and then now you just have your HTML and CSS, which is probably good for beginning students to kind of work with this until they start incorporating learning JavaScript. So one thing that you'll notice is that this is set up a little different in the fact that you don't even need to include your HTML tag in here. You don't need a doc type tag. So a lot of the structure of your HTML pages, you can just start with what you can put inside the body. Okay, so this whole area will be the body, everything you want in here. And then your CSS, instead of linking to a style sheet, you'll just write your CSS in this separate window. So the format is a little different than what you would be doing in a regular code editor like brackets or something like that, but this gives you a real quick way to just kind of jump in and start practicing. Other thing I want to show you is the ability to fork someone else's example. So for example, like if you wanted to kind of see how this worked, you could fork it and it would make a copy of this code example in your account, and then you could go ahead and edit it and make changes however you wanted. You could technically edit it here, but your changes will not be saved. So it's fun to kind of look at and play with, but if you wanted to actually edit this and save it, you would need to fork it. You can also favorite it, so you don't want to fork it, but you want to favorite it and come back later, you can do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here by clicking back on the home page, this icon in the top left corner. Now to get started with creating your own pen, you come up to the create button and you choose new pen. Now one thing that's important to know is that your default view is going to have your three windows and then a preview screen at the bottom. You can also change your view and change your editor layout, and some people might like it this way, some people might like it this way. I kind of prefer this particular view. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize my JavaScript editor. Now again, with the HTML, all you have to do, you don't have to do any of the doc type HTML head section. You can just start typing. So let's go ahead and do our typical hello world, and as you type it, it will show up in the bottom. Then if you want to work with some CSS and create a CSS declaration, you can say margin left and color and something along those lines. Okay, so that's the CSS being applied to my H1 tag. So again, it's a really fun way to go ahead and just experiment. A lot of the activities that we're doing in class, you can use CodePen for. So to save it, which you're definitely going to want to save, you save it, and then you can change the title of this by clicking on the little pencil and just saying whatever you want to call it. So again, you can save it. Now, another thing that you can do is you can go back to change view, and you can use different viewpoints of this page. So instead of seeing all the code up here, you can click on full page, and this will show you what it looks like with your little menu on the top, which of course is not going to be, you know, part of your real coded page. It's just to get you back to your menu. So in order to be able to use different views, you need to validate your email address that you signed up with CodePen. So make sure to check your email, validate it, and then you'll have access to do these other views. There's also some really cool professional level stuff that I'll probably be diving into at some point. So one other thing that I want to mention before we get started is to go into settings, and there's different settings for your projects. So you have different HTML settings, and one important thing here, if you're doing responsive design, is you're definitely going to want to include this insert the most common viewport meta tag. So that will add that to your project. Now same thing with CSS. In CSS you have, if you're doing some advanced CSS, you have the option to include a CSS preprocessor. Some other area that you might want to look at is this quick add feature, and this gives you some really popular CSS frameworks such as Bootstrap and Foundation, Bulma. If you get into JavaScript, there's lots of JavaScript resources. Again, quick add usually has what you need if you're doing jQuery, jQuery UI, any of the popular JavaScript libraries, Angular, things like that, React. So you can go ahead and use this for lots of really cool resources. Again, in JavaScript, if you're working with JavaScript, you're probably going to want to uncheck some of these auto updating previews and auto save, because a lot of times while you're coding, you don't want the code to actually start running and get in the way of messing up your work while you're trying to type. Okay, so those settings apply to just your particular pen here. Okay, and then when you come back in to your home page, you can click on your dashboard, and then your dashboard will show you all of your projects that you have going on. And here's this example demo that we just did. Okay, so that is a quick introduction to CodePen. We'll be using that for a couple activities in class. Thanks.